and my dear students to this webinar today, where we have gathered to discuss a topic of immense significance, which is the role of youth in Viksit Bharat. As we speak of dynamic and vibrant spirit of India's youth, it is a force that is not only shaping the present but also sculpting the future of our nation. India is the world's largest democracy, and the youth makes up a huge part of our population. More than half of Indians are under 35 years of age. This makes India a young nation, and we young people have to play a big role in our country's growth, and we are driving our country on a road to development. Young people are full of energy, new ideas, and a strong desire to make things better. We are not just waiting for the change to happen, rather, we are actively working to bring about the change. In simple words, the youth of India is the driving force behind our democracy. We are the change makers, the innovators, and the leaders who are shaping our present and future. We should empower our young citizens to take on the leadership roles and contribute meaningfully to the democratic fabric of our nation. Earlier, our country was considered as a third world country, but the hard work of the youth and vision of our Honorable Prime Minister can soon bring our country in the third position in the list of developed nations. To guide our way forward to the development, today we have with us renowned speakers Dr. Vinay Sahasrabuddhe ji, who is ex-member of Parliament, and CA Varadraj Bapat, renowned professor at IIT Bombay, to explain us the role of youth in Viksit Bharat. Also, we have with us our very own regional council member and the current Vikasa chairperson of WRC of ICA, CA Piyush Chandak ji. And now I request my Vikasa member Shubham Dandi to formally introduce CA Piyush Chandak sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Palak ma'am. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Introducing a man whose career is not just an exceptional but a testament to unparalleled dedication, from holding various qualifications such as LLB, CPA Ireland, and FCA TISA to making it giving to back our CA community. Mr. Piyush sir is former treasurer, current chairperson of WRC Vikasa, chairman of valuations and vice chairman of AI in WRC, and currently in capacity. Moreover, not ending his uploads just yet, he has also authored a book on GST law, which was published in Nashik. Even the highest aspirations can find new heights in his presence. From boardroom to classroom, his unwithered interest in his career path just keeps on adding. With 18 years of experience as a senior partner at Chandak Rahane and Company, here we invite CA Piyush Chandak sir, providing us with his insights and enlighten us on today's topic.
Thank you, Shubham. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank you, Palak Madam, for inviting me for attending this seminar and giving my views. And I welcome Vinay sir, who is a prolific speaker on the topic CA's role in the Viksit Bharat. Definitely, we CAs have a bigger role because the current size of the economy of India is said to be $4 trillion. And under the able leadership of our Prime Minister, his vision, as known all of us, is to go up to $40 trillion, right? So this is the Amrit Kal we are celebrating in India, and we have a lot of responsibilities. Now, as we talked about numbers, you must imagine that if the economy is growing 10 times, the need of the professionals and role of the professionals is also going to increase 10 times, right? So we need a lot more CAs, lot more responsible CAs and responsible citizens for India to grow in a bigger shape and bigger size. Definitely, this kind of seminar, arranging this kind of seminar is going to help in a lot way. And I congratulate Thane branch and all the branches who have joined to arrange this kind of seminar for the benefit of students. Thank you very much. And if I just wanted to have this opportunity to appraise all of you on a recent development in Vikasa WIRC. So if I can share the screen, I would like to present before you something. Shubham, is it possible for me to share the screen? I need to give co-host rights for that.
Yes, sir. I would request Rupa ma'am or Kavita ma'am to make the
Kindly arrange
co-host.
till then. I'll just appraise all the students present. Dear friends, as we all know, we are the largest body of students association across India. We have got membership of around 250,000 students, and for that we need to have a better interaction with students, and we are using social media for that, right? So if we have a better interaction, we need your participation in the large numbers. And for that, what we have done, we are using artificial intelligence in a creative way to have larger interest, to create your interest, and in all the activities of Vikasa. And what we have done is we have created two mascots using artificial intelligence, and those we are calling as Vikasa buddies. So all of you who are students of Vikasa now will be termed as Vikasa buddies. And those two Vikasa buddies, which we have created using artificial intelligence, are going to take you through all the activities of Vikasa, all the initiatives of Vikasa time to time. What we have done is we have created an introductory video wherein those Vikasa buddies are introducing with all of you with the objectives and scope and roles and responsibilities of Vikasa. So if I am given the rights, I'll definitely immediately share the video. Is it possible, Shubham?
Yes, sir. You are the co-host now. You can share your screen.
Okay. Shubham, can you confirm whether it is working?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Okay. And are you getting the audio also?
No, actually, your
Audio
screen
have
is
we
on
can't hear.
Zoom. Your
I
screen
have
is on
paused it
Zoom.
for a while, but did you hear the audio before?
No,
No.
there was not a.
Okay, let me check. Getting it?
No, sir.
Only screen is visible or audio or
Yes,
both?
screen is visible, but audio is not audible, sir.
So there seems to have some technical glitch. Can I request the host to go on the Vikasa social media handle, more specifically the Instagram handle, and immediately you can find the video in the latest 2-3 posts, and you can play it there, from there. Is it possible? Or you can do it at the end of the seminar also, because the speaker had already informed us that he has to rush to
Yes,
somewhere
sir.
else.
Yes, sir. Definitely, we will play it at the end of the seminar.
Yeah, that will be more, I'll be grateful for that. So, dear students, I'll request all of you to follow the Insta and LinkedIn handles of Vikasa. Official handles are there. And if you follow, you will be updated with all the activities time to time. And we will go together to the better path, and we'll definitely have our role in the era of Vikasit Bharat. So, thank you, Palak Madam, for the opportunity. And thank you very much, Shubham, and all the organizers. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Piyush sir, for joining us. I now request Akansha Patra to deliberate vote of thanks to Piyush sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
So good afternoon. I am Akanksha Patra, Vikasa Committee
Just a
member.
second, Akanksha. Sir, you sir, can you please stop screening your screen? Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I am Akanksha Patra, a Vikasa Committee member, and I am honored to get this opportunity to express our gratitude to our esteemed guest of honor. I extend heartfelt gratitude on behalf of all our participants to our guest of honor, Vikasa Chairperson of WIRC of ICI, CA Piyush Chandak sir, who has graced us with their presence and insightful speech today. And we are deeply appreciative of our esteemed guest of honor, CA Piyush Chandak sir, for dedicating his time and sharing his insights with us. Thank you, sir. And we hope to have the pleasure of hearing from you again in the future events of Thane Vikasa.
Sure. Thanks a lot, Akanksha.
And now I would like to call Nipun Sharda to introduce our speaker for the first session, Dr. Vinay Prabhakar Sahasrabuddhe ji.
Good afternoon, all. Akanksha, can you please confirm, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you. Dr. Vinay Prabhakar Sahasrabuddhe ji is an Indian politician who has significantly contributed to various sectors, particularly in Maharashtra. His political career includes serving as a member of the Parliament of India, representing Maharashtra in the Rajya Sabha from 2016 to 2022. Sir held the position of National Vice President of the BJP from August 2014 to September 2020. Since 2018, Sir has been the President of the Indian Council for Cultural Relations, ICCR. Known for his intellectual prowess, Sir is recognized as a political scholar and has occasionally written many columns. Sir is also the Vice Chairman of RM Prabodhini, a research and training academy focused on the development of elected representatives and social activists. In his tenure as a Member of Parliament, Sir chaired the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education, Women, Children, Youth and Sports. Sir is highly regarded as one of the leading intellectuals within the BJP and the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. So without any further ado, and all due respect, I would like to invite Dr. Vinay sir to share his valuable insights on role of youth in Indian democracy. Thank you.
Sir, you're not audible. Vinay sir.
Sorry. Thank you, Palak ma'am, and thank you for the generous introduction given earlier by your young volunteer. I'm also happy that the professional organizations like the body of CAs in Thane, CA Association, the Thane chapter, decided to organize this kind of a seminar and invited me to reflect upon the subject of what is the role of professionals in the changing world and especially in the context of democracy. Let me tell you that when we look at the history of our country, you would realize that for several years, we were kind of under the shadow of some kind of socialistic hangover. And therefore, rulers in India, our prime ministers largely in the previous era, were always looking at wealth creators as people who are cheaters, people who are perhaps looting the country, or people who are not paying the taxes and things like that. So a whole amount of negativism was always there about the very process of wealth creation and people who are into wealth creating, the wealth creators to be specific. And there is a drastic change. For example, Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi has from day one said that I consider wealth creators as servants of our country. They are the patriots and they know their responsibility. And therefore, we cannot just denounce them as cheaters or people who are avoiding taxes. So this is a very drastic change that has happened during the last 10 years, and wealth creation has become kind of an important activity, and wealth creators are getting the due respect which was earlier denied to them by the previous regimes. So now the significant part that we all who are into the wealth creation, wealth management, taxation and things like that need to understand is the kind of change, the kind of transformation that has happened during the last 10 years. मुझे आपको बताते हुए बड़ी प्रसन्नता है कि एक जमाना था, और वो बहुत पुराना नहीं है, कि हमारे देश में हम कहते तो रहे और प्रधानमंत्री जी ने सबका साथ सबका विकास का मंत्र भी दिया, मगर कई बार ये होता था कि पीपल हु आर हैंडीकैप, पीपल हु आर नॉट फिजिकली फिट, and people who have some kind of a deficiency, physical deficiency in one way or the other, were always considered as handicap. हिंदी में हम उनको अपाहिज बोलते थे, मराठी में हम उनको अपंग बोलते थे, और ऐसा किसी को भी कहना उसके लिए बड़ा पीड़ादायक होता था। और ये भी वास्तविकता है कि जो मान लीजिए कोई अंध व्यक्ति है, अ ब्लाइंड पर्सन, फिर उनके पास भगवान कुछ एक दिव्यता देता रहता है, और हो सकता है कि ऐसा व्यक्ति गाने में बड़ा माहिर होता है, गला उसका बड़ा अच्छा होता है, या कोई मूक बधिर है, डेफ एंड डम, उनके बारे में कई बार देखा गया कि उनके हाथ में बड़ी अच्छी कलाकारी होती है, दे आर गुड आर्टिस्ट, गुड, देयर ड्राइंग इज एक्सलेंट। तो मुद्दा ये है कि ऐसे सारे जिनको भगवान ने कुछ कमी, कुछ न्यूनता दी है, उनको भगवान ने कुछ अधिक भी दिया है, कुछ दिव्यता भी दी है, and therefore Prime Minister rightly suggested that instead of calling them apahij and handicap, we should call them as दिव्यांग। अभी ये धारणा बन गई और ये स्थापित भी हो गए। सिमिलरली वी आर ऑल इन द इकोनॉमिक सेक्टर। हमारे देश में 125 डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स चिन्हित किए गए थे, they were identified and they were labeled as most backward districts. For example, in Maharashtra, Nandurbar district or Gadchiroli district, they are considered as most backward district. Prime Minister made us to think in a different way, and he renamed all these districts and said they are not most backward, they are the aspirational districts. छोटा सा परिवर्तन है, मगर उससे हमारे सोचने में बड़ी, मतलब एक दृष्टि से बड़ा बदलाव आ गया। और ये जो एस्पिरेशनल डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स है, उनके लिए आज दिल्ली में एक गार्डियन अधिकारी भी रहता है, who takes care of the movement of files and correspondence and everything which otherwise works as a bottleneck in the development of these otherwise backward districts. And therefore, this is a significant change that the Prime Minister has brought in. Similarly, if many of you might have traveled to, let's say, Gujarat or Badmer or Jaisalmer or Ganganagar, or even in Sikkim or Arunachal Pradesh, where we have several border districts. And in all the border districts, there are certain villages which are very close to the international border. And they are at the receiving end of several difficulties. कभी कभी वहाँ ड्रोन से नशीले द्रव्य आ जाते हैं, कभी कभी गलत प्रचार सामग्री आ जाती है, कभी कभी सामने से गोलियां आती है, तो उनका जीवन बहुत कठिन है। वहां रहना इतना आसान नहीं है। मुंबई में, ठाणे में रहना बहुत आसान है, धोलावीरा में, गुजरात में जाकर रहना आसान नहीं है, श्रीगंगानगर में आसान नहीं है, पूंछ राजौरी में बहुत कठिन है। तो उनके लिए पहले कहा जाता था कि दिस इज द लास्ट विलेज ऑफ इंडिया। नाउ द गवर्नमेंट फाइल्स हैव चेंज्ड एंड दे आर कंसिडर्ड एज द फर्स्ट विलेजेस इन इंडिया। तो ये जो सोचने में परिवर्तन आया है, ये मैं मानता हूं कि 10 साल की बहुत बड़ी उपलब्धि है। Similarly, the government, and especially the government led by Prime Minister Modi, has also taught us how we can think big, how we can think differently. And that is also something very, very important, because thinking big is an essential prerequisite of any aspirational country. For example, Prime Minister has taught us to dream for Viksit Bharat, जो आपके आज के चर्चा का विषय भी है कि विकसित भारत के लिए प्रोफेशनल्स क्या कर सकते हैं। So in a way, it is an aspiration which he has rekindled in our minds and hearts. क्योंकि लगातार अपने आप को गरीब देश कहना, विकसनशील देश कहना, अविकसित देश कहना, ये तो बड़ी आसान सी बात है, मगर उससे हम केवल सहानुभूति लेते हैं, उससे हमारे अंदर आत्मविश्वास निर्माण नहीं होता। And to create that confidence in everybody, he said, no, we have to aspire, we have to dream to become a Viksit Bharat, a developed India. And as you are witnessing that we are the 5th largest economy of the world today, and slowly but certainly we are moving towards becoming the 3rd largest economy of the world. Also take the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat, something very important. And during the Corona time, as we have realized that India not only created its own vaccines, but supplied it to 150 countries. Similarly, take the example of Ukraine and Russia war, and thousands of Indian students were kind of not allowed to come from either Ukraine or Russia or the border areas, and they were stranded over there. So the government approached both Ukraine and Russia, and since it is Indian government led by Prime Minister Modi, both of them accepted, and a convoy of over 100 buses carrying Indian students could peacefully reach up to the border of Hungary, and the Indian tricolor was flying atop every bus. और ये क्या हो गया? इसका परिणाम ये हुआ कि कई हमारे पड़ोसी देशों ने भी कहा कि आपका तिरंगा हमें दीजिए, वो हम अपनी बसों पर लगाएंगे तो बमबारी नहीं होगी. That is the enhanced respect for India, and that is the significant achievement of India, because India as a force, not just in the military context, but economically as well, socially as well, in the development context as well, is now being recognized globally. ये हमारी बहुत बड़ी achievement है. और इसलिए ये सारा समझने के बाद, for professionals, I believe one mantra of the Prime Minister all of us need to understand. He started his prime ministership with a simple message, सबका साथ सबका विकास. Later on he added सबका विश्वास, and 3 years before he said सबका प्रयास. So सबका प्रयास में तो प्रोफेशनल्स भी आते हैं. प्रोफेशनल्स का प्रयास तो और अधिक अच्छा होना, प्रोफेशनल्स का प्रयास और अधिक प्रोफेशनल तरीके से होगा. They will help getting more people in the tax net as the government desires, and rightly so. तो इस तरीके से अगर प्रोफेशनल्स काम करते हैं तो अपनी अपनी पद्धति से वो अपना कुछ कंट्रीब्यूशन दे सकते हैं, योगदान दे सकते हैं, which will eventually help the country to become a विकसित भारत. We are a civilizational country. वो जो कहते हैं ना कि क्या बात है कि हस्ती मिटती नहीं हमारी, तो वो ये हस्ती है कि we are for 1,000 years we have not stopped marching ahead. We have been aspiring, we have been taking every other citizen of our country together and moving towards to become a Vishwa Bandhu, if not Vishwa Guru. तो ये विश्व बंधुता का जो मैसेज है वो मैं मानता हूं कि आप सभी के सहयोग से, कंट्रीब्यूशन से आगे आएगा. देश अगर बड़ा होना है, तरक्की करनी है, विकसित बनना है, तो all of us will have to contribute. And the first occasion for all of us to contribute coming is knocking the doors just 48 hours after, when we will be all standing in the queue and casting our vote for a Viksit Bharat under the leadership of, once again, Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Thank you very much. You are mute, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Now I request our immediate past chairman, C.A. Rajneesh Sharma, sir, to deliberate a formal vote of thanks to Vinay Sahasrabuddhe ji.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, madam.
Audible.
Good afternoon, madam. How are you?
I'm good, sir.
Good, good. Doctor, sir, thank you very much, first of all, for taking out time for our fraternity. And it means a lot to us, sir. And you have given a very, impressive lecture for us. Very open-hearted, guidance to the youth. So we really appreciate you for that. And we are thankful to you and we are grateful to you, to throw light upon this subject. It will definitely be useful to our students as well as CA fraternity as a whole. Thank you so much, sir. Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
So, ma'am, can we start with our next session?
Yes, yes, Shubham.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I would like to invite my Pikasa buddy, as mentioned by Piyush sir, Rasika Gaisas, to give a formal introduction to Dr. Varadraj sir. CA Varadraj sir.
Good afternoon, CA Varadraj Bapat, sir. Welcome to Thane branch webinar.
So actually you're on mute.
Yeah, we can proceed.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to Thane branch webinar.
Just a sec. Are you beginning or we are already beginning or you are starting with introduction?
Rasika, please start with the introduction.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, am I properly audible?
Yes, Rasika.
Good afternoon, sir, and everyone present in the meeting. I, Ms. Rasika Gaisas, Vikasa member, would like to introduce to you all our next speaker for the day. He is not only a chartered accountant, a cost accountant, a DISA holder, but also he has completed his PhD in finance from IIT Bombay. With more than 28 years of experience in the field of consultancy and teaching, he is now a professor at SGM School of Management, IIT Bombay. He has many research papers in high impact international journals to his credit and also done numerous research projects. Who could be such a dynamic personality other than the speaker for the day? CA Varadraj Bapat sir. Elaborating more on his professional career, he has been a member of All India Board of Management Studies, AICTE, NAT, peer team, MHRD Autonomy Team, and Board of Governors for NIT Manipur. He is expert member of Project Approval Board of centrally sponsored scheme for Pradhan Mantri Uchchastariya Shiksha Abhiyan. He is also a member of Board of Governors for IIT Guwahati. Along with it, he is also an advisor to Akhil Bharatiya Vidyarthi Parishad and many other NGOs. I would now like to invite CA Varadraj sir to speak or elaborate his thoughts on the topic of India towards developed nation. To you, sir.
Namaste, everyone. Thanks, Rasika, for very kind introduction. And thanks to all the organizers, mainly CA Palak and all my dear students. I'm very happy that at an appropriate time, we have chosen a discussion about Viksit Bharat. So we would discuss, and in these days, good number of data is available everywhere. So I'll speak less about data, try to express my views. And I think we have 45 minutes, but I would
Yes,
be
sir.
very happy to answer your questions or also respond, understand your suggestions. So I'll try to finish within 30 minutes and would be happy to take your questions. I'm just sharing my PPT. Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Yeah, great.
So actually PPT is not visible, your screen is visible. Can you please open your PPT?
Just 1 second. I close this and I'll again share. PPT would have no? Yeah, is it shared now? Can you see it?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it is visible.
Okay, great. Uh, okay, so as we all know, Bharat is today being seen as a nation moving towards superpower, something which is being looked at everybody in the world. So if we slightly look at the past, we'll try to look at history, then the major changes in the economy in the last decade towards Viksit Bharat and some unique features of Bharatiya model. So we know that India is considered as a third world country, a subdued, poor country till a few years ago, and it faced worse loot during British period, and we were under foreign rule almost for last 1000 years, and we had to face worst wars in 1948, 62 and 72. But all that mood has completely changed now. We will have a look at world economic history. Is this table visible to all?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So there was a study instituted by OECD countries, which are also known as G7 countries or the most developed countries in the world, under the leadership of famous economist Angus Madison. And he came out with 2000 years of world history. And as you can see here, in year 00, India had a share of as much as 32.9% of world GDP. And even up to 1000, our share was 28.9% of world GDP. Post 1000, we faced several invasions from Arabs, Mongols, Turks, and so on. And our share kept on going down, but still it was nearly 25% in 1700. But it was particularly British time when our share went down to just 4% by 1950. So during industrialization, when the Europe was getting industrialized, in fact, our nation was deindustrialized forcefully. We were not dependent only on agriculture. We were number one country as an industrial country in trade, commerce, and so on. But everything was destroyed. And you can see in the same period, actually the share of Western Europe has gone up, which was nearly 30%, 20%. It went up to 33% in the same period. And if you see, US was nearly zero, but it increased during First and Second World War. The position of China is almost like us, but which we were always the world leader. And this is not the only author who has written this. We have several other authors, including Paul Byrock, or for example, in India, we have got Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar or Dadabhai Nauroji, who have also written about it. So overall, India is basically not a story from rags to riches. It is not that we were very poor country. In fact, we were economic empire for all the period of known history. In the table, we saw 1700 years, but we know that much before that, for thousands of years, we were actually economic empire. Only in last 300 years, we became poor and subdued country, and we are trying to re-establish ourselves. And we also see that Western economies basically need flows from abroad even to sustain themselves. Now we know that during this period, yeah, any questions, comments from anyone? Now we know that during this period, in the last decade especially, we are moving towards Amrut Kal because we have completed 75 years of independence and next 25 years are going to be great years. And this is the period when there are several success stories, which includes vaccination, because you might be aware that polio vaccine was made available to India after almost 50 years, after which it was available in USA. And several other vaccines came to us after 10 or 20 years. But during COVID, it was exactly other way around. We were amongst the top vaccine providing countries, both as inventors and also producers. And in fact, under Vaccine Maitri, we provided our vaccine to several countries. And today, after many studies, it is found that our vaccines were one of the most successful. Similarly, there are success stories of Chandrayaan. Ram Mandir has been built. Section 370 has been successfully repealed. And on economic front, we know that Jan Dhan accounts increased the percentage of financial inclusion several times. And recently, we used to be normally laggers. Something will happen in the Western world and we'll copy it after 10, 20 years. But UPI is a success story where we are world leaders and other nations in the world, even developed countries, are trying to copy us. So this is for the first time it has happened in last 100 years or so. So we are really seeing several successes and we are moving towards a great period. And as young chartered accountants, I'm sure there are so many opportunities in front of you. We know that many initiatives have been taken for development, particularly development of infrastructure. Since, as I said, a lot of data is available everywhere, I'm not giving you a lot of data, but just important points to remind you about developments which have happened. Because we lacked in first and second industrialization, our infrastructure remains very poor. Though in terms of GDP, we have become number 3 now, our infrastructure is poor. So the current government has taken several initiatives on infrastructure. We know whether it is transportation, whether it is energy, whether it is water, but that's not the only thing. Very important initiatives have been taken on digital infrastructure. That's why whether it is rolling out of 4G or 5G or 6G, which is going to come, we are nearly on par with developed world. So that is on telecom, internet, digital services, even on cyber security. And this impact of communication success has improved access even in rural areas, and many innovations are happening around that. So digital divide exists, but it's slowly coming down and it is ensuring inclusivity of many people. And you might be aware that not only infrastructure of internet or telecommunication is available, India is perhaps one of the most low-cost countries where such facilities are available at a relatively very low cost. Then we should not forget about social infrastructure. So a lot of initiatives have happened on healthcare. We are aware that now new national education policy has come up. So on education, also development of community facilities or social services, then contribution to human well-being, community development, enhancing social infrastructure in terms of resilience and accessibility. So such initiatives have also happened. Very important but often forgotten infrastructure is also spiritual infrastructure. Because unless we feel that we are strong, world won't view at us as strong. And unless we are determined to be successful and happy, we can't be successful. So for that, spiritual infrastructure is very important. That includes places of worship, maybe big statues which are coming up, or Ram Mandir which has come up, many of our ancient monuments. Recently, you would have read about Bet Dwarka or Dwarka, which is found below the sea. So a lot of developments are happening on it. We know that when Yoga Day was introduced, almost every country in the world welcomed it, and yoga is adopted everywhere in the world. So fostering of spiritual growth is also happening at a very rapid scale. And many of these initiatives, we know that has come up as a great performance also. That includes our growth of 8+% in the last decade. And in spite of COVID, we are growing at 6.5%. There is a significant improvement in ease of doing business. Our rank has gone up. Then India today is a very important part of global supply chain. We know that there is a China +1 policy, and most of the leading manufacturing companies are selecting India as their second base. And then there is young India. Scaling of the nation is happening at a rapid pace, and great number of Indians are today looked as a valuable manpower, not just in Bharat, even outside. And there is a sizable demand for our youth everywhere in the world. So again, for the young chartered accountants, there are many opportunities. You can physically go abroad, and even if you don't want to go physically abroad, sitting here, actually, you can provide services to the world. India is today becoming R&D hub for the whole world. And we know that we are urbanizing rapidly, and that is opening up several unique opportunities. Coming to data, there are several data points I hope you can see on screen, that we were on 7th or 8th in terms of GDP. Today we have become third. Then it's a 7.8% growth, fastest growing economy in the world amongst the major economies. Significant improvement in forex reserves. You might be aware that in 1990, we were at a situation where we had just 2 weeks of forex reserves. So just within 2 weeks, our reserves will be exhausted. But today we have got more than 1 year of foreign exchange reserve. Our road infrastructure has improved like anything, and we are today second in terms of length of roads, internet use, in terms of rail infra network. And we know that there is a Gati Shakti scheme which has significantly improved our supply chain infrastructure. It is getting integrated now, whether it is road, whether it is rail, whether it is accessibility of port, and that is going to significantly improve our export, our exports, and our capability to export at a fast pace. I know you should remember that these infrastructural development gives results after 5 to 10 years. So many developments are happening now. In coming 4, 5, or 10 years, we can expect sizable improvement. Then there are unparalleled opportunities in terms of economics, because we have got huge young manpower. Also social, because we have a strong family system. We have got good amount of skilled manpower. And not to be forgotten, politically, we are an included economy. We are the only democracy in the world of this size, and elections are happening right now. We know that we have got nearly 100 crore people voting peacefully, voting in a very systematic manner. And nowhere in the world, even if you take US, which is the next in terms of size, the democratic country, is much smaller. So we should remember that stability which democracy gives is one of our important strengths. My time is getting up, so I have many more slides, but I'll move ahead fast now. So there is a huge consumer market that gives a lot of advantages to India. Our income is likely to triple by 2025, and that would significantly push consumption growth. Then there are several pillars of new resurgent India. I am just moving ahead. I hope that you are aware about it. We should know that this is not that we are just copying Western world. We have got some unique features of our own. So I have just tried to list them. First is a strong family system. We should not forget our culture. That gives us a base where we can take on the leading developed world. Then we have got a community orientation and social capital, which is again missing in the Western world. We are a leading self-employed country. Nearly, I'll just go ahead because you can see some data there. We have got nearly 78% people self-employed. And you can see other peers in the world. No other country has that high percentage because ours is a decentralized economy. Then we have a very high saving percentage. Nearly 30% is our saving rate. One of the, I'm not talking of interest rate. Huh? This is a saving as a percentage of our income or as a percentage of GDP. So that is a sizable strength of us. And you might have heard that India just crossed 100 billion of remittances in 2023, 22-23. At the end of the year, there were 110 billion of remittances to India. The next number is that of China, which is just 65. So you can imagine the lead which we have, and no developed world get that amount of remittances. Because we have a strong family system and Indians go abroad, earn money and send back to India. That's one of the strengths of our economy. It's also a strength of our society. You can just see the data here. Then we know that our stock markets have developed like anything. We are leaders in terms of number of shareholders, number of transactions, and also number of listed companies. And few years ago, our stock exchanges used to significantly lag over the developed nations. But today, in terms of technology, in terms of security, we are almost on par. We are one of the leaders in the world. There are a lot of success stories in defense and MSME. Again, I'm just going ahead. We should remember that we have a strong economic thinking. It is not, as I said, that communism has already collapsed and capitalism has several problems. So it is not that our problems will be solved by copying those nations. We have our own economic thinking. So whereas Western thinking is materialistic or comfort oriented, our economic thinking is more holistic and bliss oriented. Then those are individualistic societies. Ours is a collective society. Then that's a competition based, and ours is a more of a cooperation based. And the whole world is looking at our economic and management thoughts today. This is something more in detail on this, but I'll just skip it. There are many economic thinkers in our own country, including from Chanakya, Dadabhai Naoroji, Mahatma Gandhi, or Dr. Ambedkar, Ram Manohar Lohia, Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay. All of them, in nutshell, I can say that our economic thinking is based on ethics. It is not based on loot or it is not based on exploitation of the nature. We try to take everybody along. And that is why it's a sustainable economic development that we are looking at. It may take 1 or 2 decades more. That's why we needed a very long time. But today we are moving ahead on a very solid path. And there are also some experts in the world who call it as a Buddha economics. And that is what our Indian economics is. And towards the last 1 or 2 minutes, I would say that since we are right now undergoing elections, firstly, we should be very proud that we are the only nation where in such a big number elections happen and elections happen so well. So voting is not just our right. Definitely our constitution has given our right, but it's also our duty. We should not forget that we are choosing the government of the biggest nation in the world. we should not choose based on caste or based on any narrow things, or even not looking at our local issues, not even looking at the candidate. Basically, we are choosing a strong government. If we really have to move ahead on the path of Viksit Bharat, as we had a strong government in last 10 years, actually we need a strong government for several years. We know that many economies in the Europe are actually in trouble because their polity is in trouble. Their governments change every 1 or 2 years. We need a macroeconomic stability, which our country is undergoing, or which we are very happy that we have it in last 10 years, but we need much more stability for a very long time, not just to attract investments, but also to develop self-confidence within us, also to develop a wish in us to be in develop a Viksit Bharat. And towards the end, I'll stop with a quote by Maharishi Aurobindo. In 1910, remember this was before First World War, where Western powers were at peak, but he was a visionary who said that India shall rise on the ruins of the West. And actually today the Western economies are slowly going down and Bharat is moving towards Viksit Bharat. With this, as promised, I'll stop. My 30 minutes are over, but we have some more time. So I would look upon interaction with you. Please go ahead with your questions, comments, etc.
Hi, sir. Shubham this side.
Yeah, Shubham, please go ahead.
So, yeah, it was a wonderful session and insightful thoughts were provided from your side. So, as you mentioned about the macroeconomic stability, so you stated why we need it, but from a professional perspective, like chartered accountancy, can you please state how can we achieve macro stability from chartered accountancy post? Like what we can provide to the nation?
Do you mean as chartered accountants?
Yeah, from CA perspective, how we can enrich.
See, basically, I mean, I would like to answer in two ways. Basically, remember that this stability comes from government. As individuals or even as chartered accountants, we can contribute much. But as you can see here, our tax laws have become reasonably stable. Or today we have got a GST, that type of infrastructure, or government has seen to it that there won't be any major changes in the policies. That is something which gives stability and that attracts foreign investors. In fact, even domestically, it gives confidence to the companies that they can go ahead with bigger projects. In that sense, that macroeconomic stability is very important. Current government did give it, and we require it for many more years. And second, in second part, trying to answer your question, what chartered accountants can do. What I think society looks upon to us is not just being accountants or not just experts on taxation. Today, we need to be management accountants. We need to be advisors. We need to see to it that our clients' businesses grow, not just by saving taxes. Their business itself should grow. And I think chartered accountants are increasingly taking up that role of advisors to the business. And that is something I think nation looks upon to us. And it also looks upon to us not as somebody help people to develop increase black money or cheat on government or on society, rather give a fair advice, ask people to move on a fair path. Because remember, today government has a lot of databases. You cannot cheat them. We have to advise clients that they have to do business ethically. That's the right path for a growth which is sustainable. Thank you. Any other questions? So I hope chartered accountants become more vocal, better in communication, and start discussing more. Remember, I teach in a management school at IIT Mumbai. And there, if we ask students to ask questions, there will be so many questions that आधा घंटा उसमें चला जाएगा. So I would also request you to be more vocal. Please go ahead with your questions. You can
Students
ask on
feel
chat
free.
also.
Yeah,
You can
students
ask
feel
on
free
chat
to
also.
express, and you can ask. We have excellent speaker with us. Please let it be an interactive session.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am. This is Dirga Parasya.
Hello, Dirk.
Yeah, ma'am, I had a question. Some people say that India is a developing nation, or some people are of a belief that India is developed already. What stage would you categorize India
Okay, a good question. See, there are several parameters, but at one time, say up to 1970, we were considered as a third world nation because our infrastructure was extremely subdued. So something happened in the developed world. As I gave example of polio vaccine. Polio vaccine was made available in US in 1940s. It came to India in 1990. So we were 50 years behind the US. Several other inventions came to us after 20, 25, 30 years. Post 1990 scenario improved. So we will have something after 5 or 10 years. But today we are almost on par. As I said, in fact, we were leaders who provided vaccine. Or where at the point when 5G was launched in US, at the same time it was launched in India. So in that sense, we are nearly developed nation, but I won't call it developed nation because remember, we are 140 crore country. So there are so many interior parts of India which need to be still developed. Our per capita income is still low. That's why we are developing nation, but we are in a right path. We are moving ahead rapidly. And that's where for youngsters like all our students, there are great opportunities because we are not a saturated economy. Remember, developed also means saturated. A lot of developments have already happened. Growth rate goes down. Whereas in our case, we are on a growth path. So for all of us as students, as young chartered accountants, there are a lot of opportunities and we also have duties to perform because world looks upon to us to give them back something, not just by our financial knowledge. We need to be culturally strong. We should know our history. We should know our society because West is facing a lot of problem in family life, in social life, whereas our family life is stronger. So we need to give back something to the humanity. We need to have that self-confidence. So as youngsters, I hope we are on a right path. Thank you.
So one more question. As per the previous inflation data comparing to the current scenario, we are much more stabilized. What should be the ideal inflation rate so that we can grow stably on the path as you mentioned?
Yeah, a very good question. Because often what happens is people compare after 10 years or so, and then they say prices have increased. But for any economy on a smooth path, there has to be some inflation. Everybody wants salary rises or chartered accountants want their fees to be increased. But sometimes as customers, people complain that prices have increased. So it will be good if there is a consistent and a stable inflation of 3 to 4%. For a developed nation, for a developing nation, it can be even little higher, 4 to 5%. Whereas for a developed world, it is 1 to 2%. It's not a very strong standard, but what is important is you should have a stability. Say a 10% inflation and a 0% or a negative inflation disturbs supply chain, it disturbs manufacturers because they don't know how much to produce. So we need price stability, and that is where our economy has made a good progress. That's a part of macroeconomic stability, which the global investors are getting attracted towards. So I think around 3 to 3.54% inflation should be considered as a good inflation. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sir,
Yeah.
there are many students attending this session. So, at a student level, what can we do to contribute to our nation's economy at a student level right now?
Okay, yeah. I'll try to answer Rasika, but one Kiran Sadhu has said on labor side, no increase. So I have not understood much. Kiran, in between, you can elaborate on a chat till the time I try to answer Rasika. So see, as students, I think the first duty is to study well, complete your chartered accountancy. But at the same time, remember that just by mugging up or just by remembering our syllabus, answering in the exam, you may clear your exams. That's also very important and tough. But that's not enough. We should ensure that we have a all-rounded personality development. Because if you just complete your exam but can't face interview or can't face the client, then I think you can't be said to be a complete chartered accountant. So one needs to have a developed personality. We should be giving back to the society. While you are students, I know you may not have huge amount of money, but you will have some time. Try to spread some positive messages on social media. Try to teach someone. That's very important. It cannot be delayed कि मैं chartered accountant बन जाऊंगा, इतना package होगा, उसके बाद I'll start giving back. I hope we should start doing that. And overall, our exposure should increase. We should remember that today we are looked upon as a global service providers. Everything may not be covered in the syllabus. There are so many things which we learn by doing, something which we learn by interacting with people all over the world. So as students, I think we should develop that habit. Gone are the days where you remembered something and for that only clients will come to you, because everything is available today on internet. What is required is your capability to give solution to any new scenario. I know it can't come overnight, but that type of personality can be slowly developed. And as a student, I think we should try on that. Thank you. A very good question by Rasika.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, I'll try to answer a question by Kiran. He has elaborated little more that there is no significant increase in the salary of manual labor. That is really very true. In fact, at a government level today, there are no recruitments in class 4. Most of the jobs are contracted out. And remember, it is going to happen more and more down the line. Right now, it is manual labor. Even people doing basic clerical jobs or even for chartered accountants doing very basic work, as AI comes, I think those jobs would go away. We should be ready for that. We should not say ki nahi, nahi, somebody should protect us, government should give us money, etc. It will not work. We should be ready to take up new responsibilities. As human beings, we have got creativity. We should start using that. We should not believe that just by doing routine work, it's enough. It's true for laborers, it's true for clerks. Tomorrow, you may not need drivers, you may not need, let us say, conductors in the buses, because those jobs are getting automated. You may not even need chartered accountants to fill up file returns, etc. So one needs to develop creative skills, one need to develop spirituality. As human beings, we have to give back something and should not expect some doles will come. Unfortunately, government is forced to give some doles, but I think as human beings, those capabilities need to be developed in us. Thank you.
Sir, we have one more question by our Vikasa member, Akansha Patra.
Yeah, please go ahead, Akansha.
Hello, sir. So, as you stated, we are not saturated economy. Can we expect India to be a next superpower in half a decade or one?
There is no firm definition of superpower. We know that we had a bipolar world till 1990. US and USSR. Communism collapsed, USSR collapsed, and US became number one and only superpower. So superpower means economically, superpower also because they are very strong military wise and they are also very strong technology wise. China has started challenging US hegemony. It improved technology, but then we know that Corona and such problems, and because China is not a democracy, people don't trust China. Bharat has all the components. We are a democracy. We have a very good military power, though we need to enhance it much more, which current government is doing because we were dependent on imports earlier. Economically, we need to develop. So when from all these angles we develop, we can say we are a superpower. I'm not very sure how many years it will take, because firstly Indians have to develop self-confidence. Success comes from within. It's true even for CA exams. Huh? If you are subdued, you can't be successful, even if you are intelligent. That's what was happening to India for so many years. We were always very intelligent, but we considered ourselves defeated. But now the mood has changed. Now there is a lot of self-confidence. With this, I hope within next 25 to 30 years, we will be counted in first three countries. I'm not saying we'll be the only superpower. I don't think that's our goal, but we should be counted in those 4, 5 big countries and developed countries. And I think we should be able to achieve that in next 25 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So last question, what changes have happened in the recent decade or what we should expect in the coming decade so that we can achieve the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister of $5 trillion economy?
Yeah, a difficult question that way because so many changes have happened. But remember also that these are incremental changes. As I was trying to answer earlier, because Modi ji believes in a stable economy, macroeconomic stability, which I am again and again saying. So it's not a U-turn type of changes. ऐसा नहीं कि पहले का कुछ बंद करके something else is started. Those things were there earlier, but they have been strengthened. That's why Janadhan Yojana, UPI, then on infrastructure, it is not that roads were not there, but roads were in bad conditions. There were 2-lane roads. Now they are 4-lane or 6-lane roads. Then developments in new railways. They were very slow, but that pace has improved now. So what difference really you can see was, we must be remembering that Sardar Sarovar project, it started in 1960 by Jawaharlal Nehru as a prime minister, completed by Narendra Modi in 2018. One dam, because so many people trying to oppose it. So that has changed now. Now inauguration is also done by Modi ji and completion also done by, laying of foundation stone and completion within 4 to 5 years. So you remember that as finance professionals, project implementation, if happens in time, then it is successful. Otherwise, there are cost escalations. So that change, those projects can be of all type. It is infrastructure, as I said, social improvement, self-confidence, defense, and also in terms of spirituality. So that is the overall change in the whole mood of the nation, and trying to tell what you can expect future. For example, NCLT and the mechanism for debt recovery did happen, but it needs improvement. And we expect that in coming years, there will be changes in the legal system, because that is something, those reforms have not happened. I would also expect changes in the administrative system because we are still living in the era during Britishers' time, almost similar type of bureaucracy. So we can expect major changes in legal system. We can expect changes in the administration. There are already many changes on the finance side, but there are certain loose ends which need to be made so that those benefits can be derived. So one can expect on that also. And then technology is going to change, and we are one of the best adopters of the technology. Remember, even people in the rural areas who could be not so literate have shown that they can use UPI so easily. So they have that ability to adjust, they have that ability to learn. Most people in the world don't have it, but as Indians, we do have it. And that's why we can expect many changes in coming years. But as chartered accountants, students, as very intelligent professionals, I would ask upon, once again, I would call upon everybody to vote and develop a positive mood. Unfortunately, lot of debranding happened in first 70 years. That this is there, that is there, security is not good, there is so much of terrorism. The change is that now we are projecting a positive image of our nation, but much more needs to be done on that. There are many vested interests which try to project negative image. We have to come out of that and everywhere show the positive image. Thank you so much.
Sir, we are deeply honored and appreciative of you dedicating your time and sharing your expertise with us. And your valuable insights have definitely expanded our understanding of the potential that youth plays today. And now I request our present treasurer of Thane branch, CA Harshvardhan Bapat, to propose a formal vote of thanks to our lovely speaker for the webinar, CA Varadraj Bapat, sir.
Thank you.
I'll just add one line. Please share my email ID and phone number with the participants. Those who are interested to keep in touch are most welcome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much, Palak Madam, our Vikasa chairperson. Actually, a very fantastic session. It's a great opportunity to present this vote of thanks to Varadraj Bapatji. It is a saying in Sanskrit that Shateshu Jayate Shuraha Sahasreshu Cha Pandita Vakta Dasha Sahasreshu. So we can clearly say, that, Baba, yes, one of those Vaktas was there today. I'm very happy to see a chartered accountant speaking so effortlessly on non-technical things as well. And it actually is an eye-opener as to how the institute and everybody must be forward-looking rather than sticking to the normal regulation, compliance, and the traditional ways of practice, as well as stepping out of the chartered accountant garb and seeing the world and helping our economy to reach new heights. I am really thankful, sir, that you spared your valuable time and spoke at our humble webinar. And I hope to see more of you, your participation in guiding our Vikasa students as well as members into the next frontier. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.